Picking your first index fund feels overwhelming. There are thousands to choose from, and they all look similar. By the end of this video, you'll have a 5-question checklist that narrows it down to the right one in under 3 minutes. Here's the stakes: $10,000 invested for 30 years at an 8% return. In a low-cost index fund, 0.03% in fees, you end up with about $99,000. Same money, same returns. In a high-fee, actively managed fund, 1 full percent in fees, you end up with $76,000. That's a $23,000 difference just from picking the right fund. The decision matters more than people think. Quick refresher: an index fund is a fund that buys every stock in a specific index, like the S&P 500, and just holds it. No manager picking winners, no active trading. The fund just mirrors the index. 3 reasons beginners default to index funds. They cost almost nothing in fees, they're automatically diversified across hundreds of companies, and they beat most actively managed funds over 20-year periods. 5 questions to pick your first index fund. Question 1. What index do you want to track? For a beginner, the standard answer is either the S&P 500, which gives you the 500 largest US companies, or the total US stock market, which adds in mid-cap and small-cap stocks. Question 2. Is the expense ratio under 0.1%? Anything over that is too expensive. The best index funds charge between 0.01 and 0.04%. Question 3. Is the fund over $1 billion in assets? Smaller funds carry closure risk and tend to be less liquid. Question 4. ETF or mutual fund version? Both work. ETFs win for taxable accounts. Mutual funds work great inside a 401k or IRA. And question 5. Is the issuer reputable? Stick to Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, or iShares. These 4 manage the vast majority of beginner-friendly index funds. The 2 most popular index funds for beginners, VTI and VOO. Both Vanguard, both with the lowest expense ratios in the industry, both with decades of track record. VTI tracks the total US stock market, about 3,800 companies, including small and mid-caps. VOO tracks just the S&P 500, the 500 largest US companies. Performance has been nearly identical historically because the S&P 500 dominates the US stock market by weight. The verdict: both work. VTI gives you slightly more diversification. VOO is the canonical S&P 500 index fund. Pick one. Don't agonize. Here's how actual fees compare. Fidelity's S&P 500 fund charges 0.15% per year. Schwab's equivalent charges 0.02. Vanguard's VTI and VOO both charge 0.03. The average actively managed mutual fund charges 0.50. And the worst high-fee mutual funds still out there charge 1 full percent. The gap between the cheapest and most expensive is over 65 times. On a 30-year horizon, that gap eats your retirement. To make this concrete one more time: $10,000 invested for 30 years at an 8% gross return. With a low-fee index fund at 0.03%, $99,000. With a high-fee actively managed fund at 1 full percent, $76,000. The fee difference looks tiny on paper. The compounding difference is $23,000, over 2 times your starting investment gone. Cheaper is almost always better in index investing. 3 myths to bust. Myth 1. More expensive funds get you better returns. Wrong. Decades of data show the exact opposite. High-fee funds underperform low-fee funds on average because the fees compound against you. Myth 2. All S&P 500 index funds are different. Mostly wrong. VOO from Vanguard, IVV from iShares, FXAIX from Fidelity, and SWPPX from Schwab all hold nearly identical portfolios. The only real differences are the expense ratio and the wrapper type. And myth 3. I should diversify by owning multiple S&P 500 funds from different companies. Definitely wrong. You're just getting the same 500 companies twice, at double the complexity with no extra diversification. 5 questions, 3 minutes of decision-making, and you've picked an index fund that will quietly compound for the next 30 years. The right index, low fees, large fund size, the right wrapper, a reputable issuer. That's the whole game. Don't overthink it.